The snake. That is the beauty of today's game. It's actually a video game up against a snake. So according to reports that actually came in a little bit early, they say never underestimate the performance of the small man, because the small man in Ncedo is actually a very, very good fighter. So let's wait and see really how far today's fight will be rolling up here tonight live on Azam TV. And for those who are just joining in for the very first time, this is a fight where most Ugandans have actually come down to catch the game, or to actually catch the fight live. So it's Ncedo Gomba up against Samir Ncedo coming in from South Africa. Samir coming in all the way from Morocco. And of course, for Samir, he actually calls himself the snake. So basically, the snake is on his way to the field. And you had him actually praising Allah just before actually he managed to come into the ringside. Meanwhile, for the South African, he actually calls himself, that is Ncedo. And that is some of the records coming up here for both of the fighters. The South African up against the Moroccan. You can actually see the fights for the South African. He has managed to win 58, he has drawn 2 and he has lost 5, compared to the Moroccan, who has managed to win 17, drawn none and lost 4. And look at the height there, 163 centimeters for the South African, 172 centimeters for the Moroccan. And look at the weight, 60.1 kgs to 59.9 kgs. So we're going live to the anthems, and when we come back, it will be live actions here on Azam TV.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready, started. Remember, strictly both side, 5 rounds.
It's Clive Chaze. How are you feeling, and what is the mood in the arena, Clive Chaze?
Well, I'm already excited, Peter. I'll repeat it again. The mood in the arena, for me, I would say, is marvelous. Of course, people managing to make their way, having a lot of discipline despite the fight being free of charge. But looks like they are still making their one. Probably by the time the main fight starts, the indoor will be full to capacity. But the mood in there, or the atmosphere, is what every fighter would probably want to experience going into a big fight like this one. We have 2 of those lined up. Of course, the first one will be starting.
All right, so basically Azam TV brings you the action live. We did complete this on the 9th of that is October. We did not complete it on the 9th of October because of some weather conditions. But let's go down to the anthems.
Thank you.
Well, it's the very first time that Mutai Kickboxing is actually coming to you live from Uganda, and there is a lot coming in from today's fighting, a lot of tradition in this kind of kickboxing. And Ncedo from South Africa is actually up against the snake coming in all the way from Morocco. So those are the 2 fighters ready for this.
Well, but of course, Gomba, Gedo, or Ncedo, like he loves to call himself, I'm sure so many people would be familiar with Ncedo. Has a lot of experience. I mean, you're talking of 58 fights won, and comparing him to Samir, who only has 17 fights he has won. Of course, Ncedo has been in the ring more than Samir has been in the ring, so he comes into this fight the more experienced fighter. But of course, it's a neutral ground, one from Morocco, the other from South Africa, meeting in the Palo of Africa. We just need to wait and see what both these fighters will be giving us.
Well, The fight actually here in Uganda is organized by Pemba Sports Africa together with other sponsors, and of course Azam TV is actually one of the sponsors bringing you this fight live. So let's wait and see really what transpires in today's game. A lot of action coming live from Uganda. We don't know where you're watching the fight from, but I know some of you guys could be down in Tanzania, some of you could be down in Rwanda, and the rest could be here in Uganda. It's a beautiful, beautiful attended fight here tonight in the Lugogo, that is arena, the only arena surprisingly in Uganda.
Yeah, we would have had two if only the permanent secretary in 1995 and 1997 had not told the Chinese that we are constructing Ambole Stadium that we don't have winter in Uganda, so we don't need an indoor stadium.
All right, so the fight actually does get underway. So some good jabbing coming in there from the Moroccan, and of course Ncedo. Well, keeps his leg. Just look at him. He looks a little bit quiet on this and tries to go for the jab. Looks a lot of confidence coming in from the South African. Just look at the height level. We actually talked about the height level, and now the knees are coming through. The holding is up, the knees coming through, and of course the pulling. When you just look at this very critically, you realize that the South African looks very, very much settled in this.
He looks a little bit settled, while Samir is actually doing the attacking, the kicking and the boxing. Ncedo, on the other hand, is just trying to study his opponent. Of course, he looks to be a very hard character, very firm on the ground, and we just need to wait to see what will come out of this when he tries to attack, and of course he goes in with an elbow.
Yeah, I know very many Ugandan fans of kickboxing are totally getting some new feeling that is kickboxing here, because it's the first time that we are having Muntai kickboxing coming to you live. Pulling, elbow, punches, the knees. At the end of the day, the South African just looks very comfortable with this here. Look at that.
Well, I'm eager to find out in the later stages of the fight what Gomba Ncedo has under his sleeves, because, I mean, apart from wearing that focused face, he's also letting his opponent probably use some little bit of his energy while he will wait for the right time to strike.
Yeah, true. Just trying patiently, just keeping the opponent coming to him, and just look at that is Ncedo going, and the kicks coming through. He actually get points for those. So it's actually, I can say, maturely going in for the points as the Moroccan tries to walk away. And as Samir to the ropes now. Well, the ref has to come and break those, and more pulling coming through. Well, look at the South African walk away.
No,
he looks a little bit bored. He looks very bored, really.
Psychologically, in a way, you get a feeling that Sam Risaki is also tormented, because, I mean, you are trying to attack this opponent, you're kicking, you're boxing, and in return, he's not doing so much. You wonder what he's actually planning. But Samir, by the way, has a better height advantage,
True.
If I may say, together with the reach of his arms. So he should be at an advantage going into this fight.
Well, there you go. Samir goes down again. And still waiting to see how far the boxing and fighting will be going through. The elbows, the knees. It's actually called the science of all the 8. I can say all the 8 parts of the body. All actually very much active here. You have the elbows, you have the fists, you have the legs over there. So it's basically a fight of the 8 parts of the body. So it's a bit of pushing it. And that's good play there and good fighting from the Moroccan, trying to get some space for himself to send the kicks through. But you look at the South African still keeping an eye, and that goes, actually there goes the bell. Brings us to the end of the first round, but surprisingly I have to admit, I love the way the Moroccan has actually handled his business.
Well, he has handled it very well. He has gone in for the early kill, try to get a few points on your scorecard here and there. Well, on the other hand, you've had Ncedo, the South African, probably trying to buy his time. He knows there are 5 rounds in total. You have 4 rounds. Why wear yourself out in the first round? But I would say that probably, for me, the first fight, it has been all about Sam Rizaki.
Okay, there we go. So basically, this is some of the action or the highlights of the first round. You realize the elbow came through, and that actually brought a lot of excitement to the Ugandan fans. The elbow coming through from this side, and at the end of the day, Saki is actually utilizing the height advantage very perfectly. So it's round 2, and we still have a lot of kickboxing coming through live from Lugogo.
Of course, the second round will be starting underway. Rather, will be getting underway from the MTN Arena in Lugogo. The fight is absolutely free of charge. Of course, it was supposed to be happening on Independence Day. it didn't because of the rain, the heavy rains at Hotel Africana. And of course, this together with the main fight, the world title fight between Umar Simata and Piotr Lugoski that will be happening later on.
All right, round 2 just beginning. Just look at the South African just actually fighting this with a little bit of swag, you have to admit. A lot of swag coming in from the South African.
Is it a little bit of swag or too much swag?
Too much swag, really. Now the holding comes through. That's some bit of pulling. The kicks and the legs continue to actually follow each other. And the man from Morocco tries to go for the knees. There is more pushing there and some bit of breaking coming in from the referee. Good punching, good kicking. And the South African trying to go more and more in there towards the rope, and you have to admit that the man from Morocco is not giving the South African any kind of room.
He's not, first of all, he has the height advantage,
yes,
which also gives him the advantage when it comes to his reach. So he tries to keep him away with these arms, but also in a way, for me, his footwork has probably helped him, because he tries to get in, get a few points, and then run away while Gomba actually is doing the walking in the ring, probably trying to wait for the opportune time to go out there, and looks like he has just realized that he needs to also start getting some points on the board before the Moroccan probably
well, the Moroccan goes down.
That high.
Samir goes down. The Moroccan has gone down. Well, I don't know whether he'll be coming back in this one, but the Moroccan goes down.
And the fans are loving it.
True. A lot of experience coming in from the South African. The Ncedo has just put down the snake.
It looks like the snake won't be returning.
Well, it's very difficult for the snake to actually come back here. And look at the excitement from this Ugandan fan. But
well, he's back on his feet.
Yeah, he seems to be in a lot of pain. He goes down. Now, those are points for the Ncedo. Well, we're still fighting. Still fighting. It's just the second round. Well, that's fair play. Love the fair play there. Well, don't exactly what it's called fair play or fair fighting, really.
Sportsmanship.
When you look at the Ncedo, he's actually going for the ribs of the South African from the legs there and the kicks there. Now holding. Here come the knees. Knees coming through. Down goes the Moroccan again, and just look at Ncedo. He's not very excited.
He looks bored.
Yeah, he looks
in a way.
bored.
Probably he expected much from his opponent. I should say, for me, Samir has given a good account of himself. But you could say that probably Gomba expected much more from what Saki is bringing on the table.
Well, Gomba trying to push the fighters away. The referee is trying to use the rope to actually pull the fighters aside. And now some arrangement currently, and Gomba's been told to actually go to his side, and the referee telling him that when I pull the rope, Samir, well, just look at his stature right now. Sportsmanship again shared by the two fighters as the action continues live on Azam TV. It's Gomba from South Africa trying to take on Zaki all the way from Morocco. It's an international fight live in Uganda. For the very first time, we're actually having this fight here. And there you go. Brings us to the end of the second round, and yet again, just like we said before, the man from South Africa looks a little bored, really.
He looks a little bored, but you can probably say he has had a better second round when you compare it to the first round. He has tried to go in there, throw a few punches that are apparently landed, throw a few kicks. And at one point, he did floor his opponent, and Saki actually looked like he won't be able to return. But yes, he got back onto his feet. Those are some of the highlights. Both fighters are trying to go out there and get the points compared to the first round, where it was all about Samir Saki, and Gedo was just doing the walking in the ring.
Yeah, true. When you look at Saki from this part, it's actually, he went down. He just went down. He really went down, and oh, so lucky. Very, very lucky that that did not actually hit him. Well, watching this game is actually one of the female Ugandan kickboxers also watching this one in Apolot. Also following this game this fight very closely. I think the kickboxers in Uganda will be learning a few tactics from this fight here.
Well, they will be learning a few tactics, but the question is how many of them have
go for Muay Thai.
the urge to take up a Muay Thai kickboxing. Most of the kickboxers we have in the country are converted boxers, so they will probably not have much time to learn the basics of Muay Thai and all that, because it is a type of kickboxing that requires a lot of discipline and commitment to be one of the best in the world.
True. Now here comes that is the South African Gomba trying to push his opponent to the ropes, and also more holding coming through from this, and the pulling and pushing in this fight here. It's all allowed in Muay Thai. Well, did I just see the promoter just arriving into the arena? But that's Gomba trying to take on Samir. Samir running from one side of the ring to the other side, and Gomba just keeps on following here. Now Gomba trying to push. Gomba again trying to attack his opponent now. Going for the jabs and going in for the knee is Samir. It's more holding from Samir. And Samir goes down again. Samir goes down again, and look at Gomba. Just look at Gomba. Just look at Gomba. He has a lot of swag in himself. He knows this fight is his. And Samir, I don't know if we'll actually continue this fight really.
Well, we have to wait and see. We pray that his camp doesn't throw in the towel, but looks like he won't be able to continue. The fans enjoying themselves. They claim this is done and dusted.
Yeah.
And this is Samir here.
Samir may not continue.
We are waiting for the official communication from the man in the middle, but looks like Samir Saki, the snake, won't be able to continue.
Yeah, true. There's no way that Samir can actually continue this fight. So that could be the end of the fight. Samir,
okay, the fight is done.
Yeah, this fight is done. This fight is totally done. There is no way that Samir can actually come up. He has had enough. Totally had enough. And of course, that is Gomba trying to go down on the other side to apologize to Samir.
But I should say Gomba for me is a skilled, exciting fighter, but probably Samir Saki, the snake, didn't really give him that kind of opposition that he badly wanted, and the fight is done just after 3 rounds.
Yeah, true. So this is some of the action that we have today, and Samir, you can actually see him go down very openly. More boxes coming up. And that is Samir trying to attack the Moroccan, and the knees coming through. Those are all areas that actually get the points there. And the elbows together with the knees kept on coming on the body of Samir. And there was no way that Samir would actually continue this fight. Look at the punch there and the leg there. And Samir went down, and very lucky that that did not actually get his head. But all in all, the man from South Africa has actually had a very, very good fight here. Good fighting from the South Africans. So basically the knees, that knee there just could not bring Samir back in this fight. Look at the knee. That one was just enough to take the man from Morocco out of this fight. So down goes Samir, and done is the fight. Of course, we've actually had a very, very good fight. For the very first time, this kind of kickboxing comes to you live in Uganda. It's the very first time that we've actually had such action like this in Uganda. But good fighting there from the man from South Africa. Totally handled his business very, very well. So we shall be going down to the ring announcer, find out exactly who has managed to win this fight. But of course, it's all evident that the man from South Africa had a very, very good fight. And Samir also does thank God for actually keeping him in the fight for that long. Even though he has actually been, I can say, knocked out. Still waiting for the announcer. So shortly we shall be having the announcer and find out exactly the winner for this fight. So let's go live to the announcer and find out exactly who wins this bout before we come through to the other bout live.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we declare the winner of this fight, Ncedo by knockout. This fight against one Moroccan, and the winner of this fight, ladies and gentlemen, is Ncedo from South Africa.
Well, there you go. Ncedo Gomba is the champion for today's fight. Some very, very good fighting coming in from Ncedo Gomba there. and he continues to keep the action for himself alive. So good fighting from Ncedo. Gomba has actually managed to win this one by a TKO, and the South African continues to build his CV regarding his fighting, and lots of respect from one fighter to the other fighter. And Ncedo just walks out. Didn't take him long to actually finish up his opponent, and good fighting from the South African.